We are almost at the month of Adar, which is a happy month for all Jewish people, and through them for the whole world. The purpose in life is to bring light into the world and to transform this world from its difficulty and unhappiness to happiness. And the fact that God gives us certain challenges means that we have to go ahead and overcome those challenges. It doesn't mean that we have to resign ourselves to the status quo and think negative thoughts that things are going to get progressively worse. Yes, when things go bad, they generally get worse before they get better. Nonetheless, a person should never be overwhelmed by hearing sad news or bad news, and the person should always take the opportunity to go ahead and to take whatever steps he can to make things better with himself and with other people. The secret of life is that life has to be lived positively, happily. A person who is negative is fearful and can never get the job done right. A person who's happy, even if he misses something, will get the majority done, and when given the opportunity, will do it right and with more energy and get it right the first time. The story is told of two Chassidim. They were found in jail. It was a bitter jail. One lost most of his children in World War II and was arrested for helping people escape Russia and given 10 harsh years of bondage in the most brutal camps of Siberia. The other was a religious Jew who was not engaged in any legal activities except for the fact that he was Jewish. His wife had just given birth to twins. He had 6 small children under the age of 12, and they needed him desperately to support them. And here he was in a cold and bitter jail. This man's name was Moshe Vyshetsky. Moshe Vyshetsky heard a man crying in jail. It's not unusual to hear people cry, but this was an unusual cry, and he put his ear to the wall and he heard it was prayer, the kind of prayer that was deep and meditative, the kind of prayer which was searing and calling for a higher life and a higher purpose. In the next room was the famous Chassid Rav Mendel Futerfas, a legend in his early life. They found out about each other and they made up that they were going to speak the next night at 2 a.m. For you see, at 3 a.m., Mendel would pray. He would do his prayers because he couldn't do it any other time. Because in the jail, you weren't allowed to pray. You weren't allowed to have talis and tefillin. And so, at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., an hour before Mendel started the prayers, they put their heads in the sewer line and began to talk to each other. Moshe, whispered Mendel. Mendel said, Moshe, how are you? Are you happy? Mendel, you nuts? How can I be happy in such a place? I don't know if I'll ever get out of here. I don't know if I'll ever see my children alive. Mendel said, Moshe, you got to be happy. Like this, all they have is your body. If you're not happy, all they have is then they have your soul. You got to be happy. Mendel didn't stop by that. He convinced the guards by bribing them that Moshe was to be in his cell for 30 days. And during those 30 days, they reminisced, they talked, they sang, they studied together, and then they parted companies. And Moshe would recall those days in jail at a wedding of one of his children. He says, I got out of Russia from that bitter place. I became a leader among the Jewish people. I became a spiritual guide for hundreds of students. I saw my children married. I met the Rebbe. My life is fulfilled, but the happiest days of my life were those 30 days in jail, in the bitter cold in Siberia. My friends, we're at a time where things are difficult, and every day we hear bad news. And every day we hear greater difficulty. We hear people are being laid off. There's a credit crisis. There's a business crisis. Things are collapsing all around us. What is the ingredient that's necessary above all else is hope and joy. Joy doesn't mean la 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 la, being frivolous. Joy means being happy to be alive with the opportunity that life gives us and to be ready for every opportunity. And if we will only be happy, if we will only face the opportunities that are given to us, we will succeed and we will overcome the recession and whatever else comes with it. Have a good Shabbos and a good, happy month of Adar.